Good morning. Thank you for joining us here on Fantasy Frenzy. Brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. Go pay him a visit. Ease the pain with some great beef jerky from watching the Edmonton Oilers fall for the third straight game to the Anaheim Ducks last night down in Southern California. We'll talk about that on the show. We can talk about the NFL draft, the Toronto Raptors getting back into their series where I said they were out. They've proved me wrong with one of the weird wins last night over the Cavaliers. And then you've got Major League Baseball, Blue Jays, now winners of 2 straight series. If they can compile that for a little bit longer, maybe they can get back into it in the AL. The Yankees playing good ball, Jays trying to get back there. Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick along with me. You can always reach us at 1-833-401-1440 or email us, Connor at sports1440.ca, Brandon at sports1440.ca. And shout out to all those tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Make sure you hit that like button if you're able. Brandon, good weekend for you, I assume. How you doing today?
Morning, Connor. Yeah, good weekend. The weather obviously still continues to leave a little to be desired, but I maybe turning another corner, final corner. We'll see here this week. Some much better temperatures, some sunshine. Even some sunshine last night as it was setting, basking over the city from the west side, showed some optimism. Unfortunately, that didn't carry over to the Oilers and optimism for them in this series. But yeah, great weekend. Another wildly entertaining game last night, the back and forth nature. I can understand the frustration from the Oilers fans' side of things, but this has just been a lot of fun to watch because of the fact that I had a tweet about it last night, really unlike, I think, any playoff series I can recall in memory. We always associate the playoffs with things tightening up, everyone locking it down defensively, laying it on the line, no pun intended, triumph, and all that jazz. And we're seeing guys do that. There's been physicality, there's been shot blocks, all this stuff, but it's just pure fire wagon hockey, back and forth, trading chances, goalies making good saves, good goals scored, ugly goals scored. It's really throwing my mind for a bit of a loop, and I've been enjoying the vast majority of it. Obviously, a little bit of fandom bias playing into that role in the results as well.
I would say, as you should. Obviously, it's gone the way of the Anaheim Ducks. Edmonton Oilers take the first game since then, though. The Ducks winning 6-4. That one had an empty netter, so you could call it a 1-goal game, as was the first game last night. Obviously, overtime. Ducks kind of ran away with game 3. But yeah, you said it. It's not the lock it down defense. You had a good stat out there last night. Was it 35 goals scored?
35 goals through 4 games, 10 more than the next closest series, and that's Minnesota and Dallas. Now, Utah and Mammoth will play their 4th game tonight. There's just 17 goals scored through 3 games in that series. So it's a pretty staggering contrast. Compare that to what we saw in Ottawa and Carolina through 4 games, where I think the total, I don't have it in front of me, I think it was 16 goals in 4 games. Just ridiculous difference.
Well, then you go to the Avalanche and Kings. They get blew open in game 3 a little bit.
They're playing the same sport, Connor.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, the Edmonton Oilers and Anaheim Ducks, the emphasis certainly isn't on defense when it comes to these two teams. I think the Edmonton Oilers have been undisciplined. Their special teams have not been good enough. And just weird things happening. Like, I will say, on that power play goal that I think it was Gauthier scored, Mason McTavish missed his intended target, Killorn, by like 3 feet into the corner boards. It bounced right to him. I was like, that doesn't happen usually. That usually is going to go into the corner. It's going to go back towards the blue line, goes right to Killorn, leads to a goal. Just little things like that were happening. And as soon as that happened, I think it was like 7 seconds before the goal, I said, this is going to be in the back of the net. And it's just weird things like that. What did you make of Tristan Jarry's play in this game? I thought, made some big saves, kept them in it. That last goal, I mean, we could take text on that all day. I think the call was right. How they got there maybe confuses some people, and people will have questions. I don't know why we don't just, invest in technologies to make this a thing of the past where it's like, okay, it was clearly in. Nobody argues. Everyone knows. But overall, what did you make of Tristan Jarry's game?
Yeah, I thought he played well. I know this. I know this is an unpopular opinion, and that's fine. I'm willing to sit on like the first goal, the Cutter Gauthier one that you're just talking about. He's a 41 goal scorer. He's 20 feet away from the net with a clean look. He will score that a lot of the time, right? But the only issue I take with it is, as the goaltender, are you giving yourself the best chance to make the save? And with where he's at in the net, like, it's a penalty kill. You can't be overly aggressive, but you kind of have to hope that the other 4 guys on your team can take away some of the cross crease stuff, like just coming out a little bit, try to take away the short side a little bit more, because there's a lot of bodies to your right that there's a better chance of it hitting if he goes that way. And it's like compared to the Bouchard one where it's a clean face-off win, cross ice, it's a great shot still, of course, but like at least he's moving. It's lateral, a little bit tougher maybe for Dostal to track. For Gauthier, he's standing in the same spot for 5 seconds, and then
just spot, isn't it?
And then just blows it past you. So, like I said, I fully get it. It's an unbelievable shot. I'm not trying to diminish, but that would be the only goal where I say like you'd love to see a big stop from your goaltender there, and he made other big saves. He was once again. It's been the same story the whole series. The goaltending is not the reason the Oilers have lost the games, and I firmly believe that. Could it be better? Sure, I'm sure the Ducks would like their goaltending to be better. Lucas Dostal's numbers, 375 GAA and 878 save percentage. Those aren't going to win you very many Conn Smythe or Vezina trophies. But comes up with a couple big saves at the right time, particularly on McDavid in the third period of last night's contest. And it kind of proves pivotal in the final result.
Yeah. Hey, Oilers were up 2 goals. They were up a goal late and allowed the Ducks to get back into it. The Leon Draisaitl on the third goal, not be able to get the puck out. That's going to haunt him, I would think. We talked about it just before we hopped on air here. When Granlund scored that second goal, and I watched it, and I was like, Matthias Ekholm's stick was right there. What the heck happens? I rewinded, I recorded the video, I posted it, and then I had to repost it in slow motion. And if you want to go check it out at Connor Halley on X, or maybe Josh can even get the video up on our social media streams here, or our YouTube and all that. It's crazy. Like, it looks like Matthias Ekholm has that play broken up, and then at the last second, like a millisecond before, just kind of flick of the wrist and the puck goes by. I also reached out to people that I know who are former NHLers and asked them, like, what'd you see from McDavid on that play? Both told me he's got to stick with his man. You got to take that threat away going to the net. He got a little bit flat-footed, and all of a sudden, little things like that, back of the net, they pay.
That's a set play. We've seen the Ducks use it before on the power play, and it's involved those two guys. Like, it's not they use it on both units, which it's been a topic, and I know they discussed it on the broadcast at the intermission last night about the Ducks having really 2 number 1 power play units. And in the regular season, both were pretty pedestrian, right? They did not rank in the top half of the league. I think the addition of John Carlson has helped a lot to in the one unit that he plays on, obviously, but then maybe balancing things. So we've seen that before. This time it's executed to perfection, but as is the case most of the time with goals against, it comes from mistakes, right? Teams can execute perfectly, but to get a goal, you probably need a mistake from your opposition in somewhere, whether it be a lost coverage, poorly placed body, stick, goalie, whatever the case. And in this specific instance, it kind of comes twofold. Matthias Ekholm essentially moving his stick out of the way of the pass, not intentionally, obviously. And then, McDavid losing his guy coming down. So, and that's been the story of the series for Edmonton. It's been mistakes that have cost them. Goal scoring continues to not be an issue. They're the second most goals in the playoffs on a per game basis. The only one more than them is the team they're down 3-1 to.
Makes for fun hockey. Exciting hockey. Maybe stressful hockey if you're a defensive purist. But it's going to be an interesting one tomorrow. It's slim. There's a gleam, but the Oilers certainly need to have their best performance. And just one thing you talked about, not being a goalie issue. The Oilers goaltending is what it is, right? We know what it is.
It's Groundhog Day here.
For them to win, the defense has to be strong in front of them. You can almost, the goalie could just be a blur. Like, it doesn't matter who you put in there. If the Oilers play the capabilities that are up to their capabilities, then they can have success. But if they, take the lapses, and energy, the dumb penalties, man, the Szymanski won 2 straight games, killer. The Wallman penalty, and just kind of loses his cool. It's something. And things they can correct. I think coming back to Edmonton on home ice, throw that hit against the boards when you get the opportunity. Definitely finish your checks, but the crowd's going to be into it either way. I don't think you have to take that extra hit, that extra cross check like we saw from Darnell Nurse earlier on in the series. Those little things, they certainly have to find a way to clean up. Duke, the NFL draft also this weekend. Rounds 2 and 3 went Friday night. Obviously on the weekend, it kind of continued 4 through 7. Any teams overall that you thought had a pretty nice draft class?
It's so funny, and the draft is so difficult, and this is across all sports, because you look at it and where guys are expected to go. At the end of the day, we like the one example I think goes back. I think it was the Seahawks 2011 draft class. It was graded an F after it happened, and then I might have the year wrong here, but it went on to produce I think like a handful of starters, guys that were part of the Super Bowl winning team, all that stuff. So we really have no idea. But listen, I think when when teams have a lot of picks and they cover a lot of bases in the position groups they're getting, look at a team like the Jets, a team like the Giants, right? You have to appreciate and be satisfied with what they do because they don't overload on a position that you fill spots of need, get the quality guys at the top, and then plug holes the rest of the way down. The biggest surprise to me, Connor, was, and we talked about this on the Triple S on Saturday morning because it was before round 4 started, Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee, right? In some boards, the second best cornerback on the draft doesn't go till 100th overall, 101st, whatever it is. Staggering. And all because of, like, he's injured or suffered an injury, still banged up. Questions about what this could mean long-term for him. And he was a guy that chose to go back to college an extra year. And it might have very well cost him, well, obviously a ton of money in draft, like your rookie contract at the top of the draft, what it's worth compared to his 4th round guy. You know, you feel bad for a guy, rooting for him, moving forward to kind of prove a lot of people wrong. And I think the Raiders taking a little bit of a, I don't know if you can call it a flyer on a guy at that spot. I think I love it. I thought the Raiders did very well over the weekend too.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one that stood out for sure. And there was reports coming out like on the Friday that it's like a degenerative knee issue, and there's gonna have to be like more things done. He still needs another surgery. I think he said he's okay, which is interesting. At the 4th round, you're probably fine with it. If the Raiders, if he contributes in any way, this is an absolute steal for Jermod McCoy going to the Raiders. And if it doesn't work out, then so be it. You took a chance. I love it. I was kind of banging the drum. I wanted the Chargers to take him in the 3rd round. Like, heck, if it works out, you're going to get one heck of a player. But now in the meantime, we just wait and see. And I don't even care if it's a 4th round pick, whatever. It's fine. And maybe we can go back and look at it later. Like, oh, the Raiders could have selected insert name here, but I like the effort. What did you think of the Arizona Cardinals? Because Carson Beck, Jeremiah Love, I know you were not on board with that one early. A lot of people scratching their heads when it came to the Cardinals and their selections.
To me, the Carson Beck choice makes the Love choice worse at the top of the draft. And I said it on Saturday with the crew in here. I said it with Kevin and Eddie this morning. If your justification as a Cardinals front office in picking a running back at 3rd overall when you are the worst team in your division, one of the worst teams in the entire NFL from a talent roster talent perspective, you justify that by saying, well, I think we can get our quarterback in the 3rd round. And that quarterback is Carson Beck. He's national champion, another appearance in a national championship game with a different school. The scouting report, the profile on him is backup QB in the NFL. And that's fine. The guy can make a hell of a living for a long time doing that. What is their thought process here? You have so many spots on your roster that need improvement. You're going to use a 3rd round pick on a backup quarterback. When you have, like, you just moved on from a franchise guy. Next year's crop of quarterbacks is supposed to be more similar to maybe what we saw last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of like maybe a half dozen guys going in the 1st round, or even like top half the 1st round, just take your lumps. Be bad again. I get it. You want to put some people in the seats? Great. You use the Jeremiah Love pick. Fine. There was no one else on your board that you could better improve your roster with than taking Carson Beck at that spot. No. Hey, Carson Beck can maybe be a feel-good story. Takes the starting job out of camp. Has success. You won't hear me complaining if that's the case. But from an outlook perspective, it doesn't make any sense for the Cardinals.
Like they just looked at his resume. Like, you know what?
Like, man, this guy might be it.
Yeah, I saw that pick and I was like, okay, you know what? Hoping for him. One of my favorite picks, and it's funny because you look at those guys who have great college careers and go undrafted, don't get any pick. They're finding a team afterwards. Uar Bernard. Did you hear about him from the Philadelphia Eagles?
So out of I can't remember the exact name for this, but it's an international player program.
The Pathway.
Pathway program out of Nigeria, has never played football. and this isn't an original one. I stole it. I saw it on Twitter. But so he's drafted as a defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. He's never played football. How do you know what position he is?
Just run. When the ball moves, run. I guess that's like the I guess that's it. But like 300 pounds, what, around a 4'6", 40, 39-inch vert?
The physical elements are certainly enticing. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, did Jordan Mailata not come out of this same program?
Yeah, believe so.
That's worked out pretty well for them.
What, a 6th or 7th round pick they selected with him, and now he's one of the best tackles in football.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the idea. I hope it works for him.
It's a feel-good spot too, right? For a guy out of Africa, listen, is there any guy that got drafted over the weekend that you're rooting against moving forward? I know I'm not.
Drafted? No.
Undrafted?
Maybe.
Diego Pavia?
I mean, he rubbed me the wrong way a few times. I'm not rooting against him.
Was the first Heisman finalist to not be drafted in how many years?
Oh,
50,
going back to the early
100?
I think it was the early 2000s, wasn't it?
Oh, I thought it was longer than that.
It was wasn't it Jordan Lynch, former member of the Green and Gold? I thought that's who it was.
Maybe.
Because when
I'll try and fact check myself on that.
When I heard it, I was like, "Oh, this guy sounds familiar." And
he has, however, reportedly accepted an invite to Ravens rookie minicamp.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he was. I thought it was Jordan Lynch, but I could be wrong for sure. I saw with him talking to Gruden. Did you see when he told him he wasn't going to have an agent?
Yeah,
and Gruden kind of gave him that like smirk, like, "Oh yeah, like." It's not just taking your money. Agents can actually have you a little bit connected, right? Like they can help you out in that fashion as well. They have these relationships with GMs, could find you a team. Now you're just a tryout.
Connor, great poll. Northern Illinois QB Jordan Lynch, 2014, the last Heisman finalist to not be drafted.
Well, I have a memory.
You're a very smart guy.
Not a good memory, but I remember
very smart
hearing about that. Spaghetti says, I'm pleased with the Chargers trying to fix the O-line. It'd be cool if Brandon Thompson could turn into a Tyreek and not just another Darius Davis. Hopefully McDaniels can scheme up some nice plays for Heat and Keaton Mitchell. Yeah, Brandon Thompson. I was looking at this guy around a 4.26 40. There was footage released from the Chargers war room with McDaniels saying, if you get me this guy, I'll take my shirt off. That's how excited he was. And yeah, he looks fun, can track the ball really well. Keaton Mitchell, another burner. I'm with you. I don't know if he's quite Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill was pretty built up. But if you remember when Tyreek Hill was drafted, I mean, he had the speed. He developed into a really good receiver. It wasn't there from day one.
Mm-hmm.
MTR says the Cards are the ugly stepchild in the NFC West. Total non-factor. Can't compete with the big dogs. And how do you argue it right now? And also, is Marvin Harrison wide receiver 1 on that team, Duke? You and I were talking about it.
Michael Wilson.
I think Michael Wilson's wide receiver 1. I think he's more reliable.
Based on last year, it's tough to argue it.
Hopefully, Maserati Marv can stretch the field and make some big plays and develop into that guy. But yeah, it's an interesting situation down in the desert. And I think you're right, MTR. I think if you're any of the other 3 teams in that division, you look at that and say, 2 wins, 2 locked-in wins when you get those guys. We'll take a break here. When we come back, more of your text. We can talk about the Oilers, what has to change going into game number 5 on Tuesday night. It's Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers the Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Do you listen to sports radio at work? Like right now? Well, do you?
Who, me? No way. I swear.
Okay, friend, we won't tell. Tens of thousands of sports fans listen to Sports 1440 each and every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. If you listen to Sports 1440 at work, well, maybe it's time to advertise on Sports 1440 at work. Grow your business, get your name out there. Shoot our ad team an email, Gregor@sports1440.ca. let's get to work for you.
I won't shave till we bring home the cup.
And I like to do a shot for every playoff goal. My jersey's not coming off until we're the city of champs again.
Want a playoff superstition that always wins? Pick up a bag of Wilhock beef jerky for every game. Because when it comes to the playoffs, where there's a Wilhock, there's a way.
Make every playoff game a Will Hockey game day with Will Hock beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't bring home the cup with salad.
I'm good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say,
I'm good to go. Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
From the first pitch to the final out. Catch Toronto Blue Jays baseball games live right here. Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Sports 1440 is proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
In like a lion or like a lamb, out like a goat. That's greatest offer of all time with Sherwood Honda. While there's plenty of goats on the lot, you can also custom order yours. Pick your Honda model with the color, interior, trim, and technology for the ride you've always wanted. Sherwood Honda can help you build and price your new Honda to make it the greatest order of all time. Pre-ordering sure would be simple and satisfying with help from Sherwood Honda.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhock Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$11:24. Welcome back. It is Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick, with you here from the Sports 1440 studios in West Edmonton Mall. Of course, you can always text in 1-833-401-1440 or send us an email. Connor at sports1440.ca, Brandon at sports1440.ca. This segment is for elksnation.ca, 2 weekly podcast with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth W football coverage you're going to find. They had Coach Killen on last week. Go check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast from, or check out elksnation.ca for articles and more. Oilers falling last night to the Anaheim Ducks. We'll take your text on that. Also, some football as well. We got the NBA, Major League Baseball. Lots going on right now. E.g., we were talking about a player being drafted from Nigeria, never played football, but the Eagles select him as a project here. It says, give him the Bobby Boucher treatment. Just get angry and tackle. Duke, if I were to say, like, to play football, where would be the easiest spot I can drop you in and just let you play?
Probably on the defensive line. Like, it's
probably tackle.
Yeah, right. And so, because it is, and the best guys to play in the NFL, you need technique, you need all this stuff. But in principality, your job is to pass this guy and go get the guy that has the ball, right? That's
See ball, get ball.
It's an oversimplification, but if you have never played organized football, that does seem like the best place to maybe start, especially when you have the physical traits that this guy does. It's not me rolling out there. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I don't know if D tackles the spot for you, man. Maybe punter, kicker, holder.
And like, that's not to downplay how good these guys are.
No.
If you had to put a guy at linebacker and all of a sudden he has to know like coverages and all that, it's going to be so complex. And he's plus 300 pounds. You know, the vert tells you he's got lower body strength that you need. The speed is good to have if he's ever going to chase down guys. But I'm thinking right now, like when he gets out there with the pads on, he's going to get absolutely mauled. Those guards are going to get their hands on him, and he's going to learn, obviously. But it's why a lot of times you love like wrestlers in football, high school wrestlers playing the offensive line. They just know leverage. They know how to do that sort of thing, get you on the ground, and I think that's going to be funny to watch at first. But if it clicks in, if it figures it out, or he figures it out, then it's going to be something to see. 1-833-401-1440. MTR says Game 7, 2024. Game 5, 2025. The two games that I hope as an Oilers fan won't define an era. But at this point, they definitely do for me. Oh, yeah, 100%. We'll look back at those games and remember them with great disappointment. I also remember 2006. I said it before. I don't remember what happened in that game. It's been blacked out of my memory. I know they lost to the Hurricanes, but two huge disappointing games. Triple Season of Truck says, everybody thought Malata wouldn't do it, and look where he is. We were worried we're going to turn him into a star. Malata absolutely worked out. Can it happen twice? It'd be unbelievable. And then all of a sudden, and then like they obviously have had the international pathway program for a while. The Chargers had a guy a couple of years ago. He was out of, not exactly sure where, but he was just an absolute beast. Got a sack in the preseason, but it's a long way to go, man. You got guys who've been playing football for 15 plus years. And that's talking like rookies. That's guys at his level entering the NFL, not to mention the pros. So I think there's going to be some growing pains. I don't know. In Triple C in a Truck, maybe you can follow up. Like, what was the progression like for Malata? Like, I remember him getting in the games, and we knew he was good, and obviously developed into a star. But the first couple of these seasons, I imagine it was a slow process getting him to be what he would be eventually. But I'm rooting for it. What'd you think of your Texans draft, Duke? Obviously, your second round pick, the defensive tackle.
Yeah.
You had him going there in the first one, I believe, once.
In one of our mocks, he was the Texans pick before they would have traded up. So when we talked about this on Friday, right, it does seem like it was a bit of a reach to get the guard that I guess they wanted the next guy off the board, which was a very clear position of need for them. But then it almost gets offset by the fact that you get Caden McDonald where you do early on in the second round, and it's like an embarrassment of riches now, that defensive front, when obviously you have guys like Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, and now you throw another guy into the fold. It's like, whoa, things are looking pretty good up here. So that was good. They drafted a tight end that not a lot of the experts were very in love with, thought if they wanted a tight end of whatever variety, there were better guys on the board, and that was one of the bigger reaches of the entire draft. But overall, just rock solid, right? I mean, a lot of these guys I'm not familiar with. What I know about them is what I read from other scouts, analysts say. So I'm always a little bit more interested how do they look at the rookie camps, obviously come training camp in the fall, and see if they can flesh out a spot for themselves on the roster. But from a first two picks in particular perspective, Texans are in a win now window, right? You got to find a way to keep your guy upright better. They're retooling the O-line again, so that fills a spot. And then it took a couple flyers on other guys later as well. And then, another big piece to your defense, which is obviously the strength and backbone of this team's success.
Marlon Klein.
That's the
guy.
Tight end
out of Michigan. A Michigan man. You can never go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
I forget who it was. I think it might have been the Jags, but someone had taken a tight end, and it was like, well, this guy doesn't catch much, and he's not very good at blocking. And after the catch, he's not very good. And he fumbles quite a bit. It was like, if you look analytically, he might be the worst tight end of all time, but they drafted him.
Yeah,
maybe they got something.
The Jags are one of the teams that, once again, I always put this on, based on these right after grading systems, had one of the worst days, or worst couple days. It just seemed like they were never really going for position of need, best player available. They were kind of just going off the board everywhere. And then naturally, they'll come out and tell you, the GM and the rest of the staff like, oh, we thought we did really good. We got all the guys we wanted even earlier than we expected, or later than we expected, excuse me. And it's like, yeah, but that's not what everybody else thought. So it's no wonder you got them later than you expected. Who knows? Maybe they're geniuses. Their scouts are seeing stuff that others aren't. But yeah, they seem to be one of the teams that took a little bit of a harsher criticism over the 3 days.
It was Nate Bokerter. His production was limited. Unlikely to create separation. Lacks sudden speed and change. As a blocker, he works on the edge, but he struggles against moving defenders. Still needs to improve. So it's like every aspect of his game.
Yeah, bit of a project.
A project. And hey, guys can develop long after college. We know that, but I remember seeing that scouting report. Thought it was kind of funny. Oh, we got some beef here, of course. MTR says Triple C doesn't know much. I would take everything he says with a grain of salt. Triple C in a truck says having Jason Peters helped a lot. With his strength and size, he progressed pretty quickly. Then it kind of changed the way people. It's not revolutionary, right? Like we've seen it for a long time, where you find athletes that play other sports and guys that have these unique stories. Antonio Gates played high school football but didn't play in college at all. His skills translated pretty quickly for him. Triple C Truck says, how many quarterbacks did San Fran draft? Because they need 5 just to compete with us. Well, the thing about the Niners is they're probably going to lose 3 to injury. They got to move that practice facility, Duke. The energy waves coming off that plant beside it are just not doing good things for this team.
So Connor, you asked me about my club. What did you make of the Chargers? Obviously getting the Canadian in the first round to help with some quarterback pressure. But what did you make of the rest of their selections?
I liked it actually. Akeem Messidor is the big one, and his age is interesting. I'm trying, like, in my mind as a fan, I try to like downplay it as much as I can. Well, look at these numbers, and then I always go back to, well, he was 24, and the guys he's going up against are 20. He might have that man strength. But I like the pick overall. He was asked why he likes football, and he said, well, why do you like pizza? You just love it.
You just do.
You just love it. So I like how he speaks. Obviously, he's a more mature guy. The second round pick, Slaughter out of Florida, I think I would say I'm curious because he took no reps at guard in his career. A little bit at practice, a little bit at the Senior Bowl where he didn't look very good. But as athletically, this guy is right up there. So, can you move him to guard and let him learn the position as they go? We'll see. Brendan Thompson, we talked a little bit about, who is just an absolute burner. I think played at 3 schools. I think it was Texas, Oklahoma, and then ended up at Mississippi State. Seems to track the ball very well. They line him up on the outside. So he's going to be fun to watch with that speed. Travis Burke, the tackle, they took a 6'9", an absolute beast. A little bit of a project, I think, kind of a mauler. From what I read, Genesis Smith, ball hawk, but not great tackling, which that scares me. And then they just added a couple pieces in later on along the offensive line. It was funny because, you learn the fan base a little bit. I follow along social media. My For You page on X brings all these Charger fans into my section, and like they were hating the draft until round 6 when they took a couple linemen. Like, yeah, maybe they panned out. Those are definitely long shots. Just because you draft them doesn't mean they're necessarily going to work. But they added size and speed. I think that's kind of what they needed, and now we'll see how it all pans out. I like the Raiders draft, actually, like as a whole.
Yeah.
Inside the division, Kansas City, I thought, had a good draft. The Broncos didn't have their first pick, so you're not going to get that star-studded power. Obviously, Jalen Waddle, I think Broncos fans will be pretty happy about. But there was the running back they took. Was it 3rd or 4th round? Like 6'1", 233, ran a really good 40 time. He's a player I'm really intrigued by, Duke. For fantasy purposes, if you wanted to like stash him on the bench, Mike Washington Jr. So yeah, 6'1", 233. I think he ran a 4.3, low 4.4s. Pair him up with Genty. I think the Raiders might have a nice little duo there. Fantasy-wise, obviously, if you're taking Genty, you probably want to make sure you have a little bit of insurance in case something happens. But for the fantasy players out there, that might be a name to look out for. MTR says the Browns had a great draft again.
Yeah, they got another quarterback.
It's like the Oilers for a long stretch. You just add a goalie every year.
And eventually one of them will pan out.
Well, eventually it's going to happen.
And then it does, and then you trade them away.
It is true, though. They did have a really good class. 2 receivers as well.
And earlier, they got both Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion, who we both kind of had on that mid to late first round element, and Boston sliding to day 2 was to the Cleveland Browns' benefit. All of a sudden, they've retooled that room in a positive way. Just sticking with the Browns and the fact that they did take another quarterback, Taylor Green out of Arkansas, I believe is where he is. Like the physical traits, there was some questions about would he ever move to wide receiver or play a different position because his combine numbers are off the charts good, right? Like they're like Megatron type numbers from a quarterback. Other quarterbacks, we know it was a weak class. We already kind of talked about Carson Beck to Arizona. We know Ty Simpson went to the Rams. We saw these other guys end up landing somewhere, except Diego Pavia, technically. Do you realistically see any of these guys finding a spot to play next year? Like, do any quarterbacks besides Fernando Mendoza start a game in the NFL next season?
I think ideally no quarterbacks do
ever
for 1 year.
Like, red shirt him.
If I was the Raiders, I would be in no rush to throw Mendoza out there.
Right.
I got too many questions about the offensive line. Like if Kirk Cousins can handle it, I do think there will be a point. We'll wait till the schedule comes out where there's like a bye week and it's like we got to see what we got in the second half of the season because I assume their record won't be, in playoff contention. But I could see like I could make an argument for like every player in this draft, Duke, that I don't know if they need to play year one. And you'd really only need to make the argument for probably the first round picks. But other than that, do you see anyone who you think could sneak in there? And
maybe
get some starts?
Maybe it depends on if Aaron Rodgers is going to play football or not, because the Steelers stay inside the Keystone State and get Drew Aller to Penn State. Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, and Garrett Nussmeier a year ago were all projected to be top like 15 picks. The highest draft of those was Aller in the 3rd round, 12th overall in that round. Klubnik went in the 4th to the Jets. Like I said, flyer essentially to see if they can find something there. And then Nussmeier to the Chiefs, long-term project. Maybe you find something and work them underneath Mahomes to be an understudy or something. No, I don't see any of these guys playing next year except Mendoza. And we've already talked about that. I don't see him starting week 1. And if Ty Simpson ends up having to play for the Rams, that means probably Matt Stafford got hurt, which means you're in a world of trouble for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. Weird year at the quarterback class.
You know what? I'm going to say I think Carson Beck gets some starts.
You think he can beat out Jacoby Brissett?
I don't think he beats him out, but I think there will be injury or you're losing so many games. You're down the stretch. You got to make a change. There's rumblings in the room, and they just say, you know what? Let's give Beck a shot. Let's see what we got here.
Sometimes, and I wonder if this is the case in reality for any team ever, when there is this like so obvious outcry to play a drafted player or a former, like a free agent flyer you took on a former top pick or something like that at the quarterback position. And then all the fans are screaming, calling into the local sports stations. Do you ever just say like, you know what? Fine. Put him out there. Let him be bad because there's a reason we're not starting him. And then everyone will shut up about it. And especially if you're you don't care about winning or not, which I don't think the Cardinals should be. Maybe that crosses their mind.
And that's the thing for me. Like if the Cardinals, let's say by week 12, have 2 wins, we want the first overall pick. We took Beck in the 3rd. We're not committed to him long term. Like we took a fly around to see what he could do. Let's go see what happens. If we finish bottom 5, that means we're going to have a top quarterback on our team next year. And if he goes out there and looks good, then you have a guy. Like I kind of look at Shuck with the Saints last year. Like eventually they put him out there and okay, we got a guy. Now was it a 2nd round pick they invested in him?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so. Like it's kind of like that. Like if he's terrible and we don't see any signs of growth, then we can look to address the position next year. But yeah, if I'm the Cards, I'm getting Beck out there. Ideally, Steelers with Aller, no, because you have Aaron Rodgers. Man, I hope the Rams don't have to play Ty Simpson because, like you said, that would be due to injury. So I'm going to say Beck gets starts. He's my lock. And then Mendoza in the second half of the season. But at the same time, dude, what if Mendoza goes out there and just, beats the wheels off Kirk Cousins in their competition, right? You have to play him.
I think that there's a chance that Mendoza starts week 1, but he will have to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be one of these first overall picks where, but when minicamp starts here next week or whenever it is, like the rookie minicamp, they're naming him as the week 1 starter.
Like Cam Ward last year.
Yeah. Exactly.
We got no one else. We'll take a break here. When we come back, more text 1-833-401-1440. It's Fantasy Frenzy on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch, and on the AM dial. Brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
I won't shave till we bring home the cup.
And I like to do a shot for every playoff goal. My jersey's not coming off until we're the city of champs again.
Want a playoff superstition that always wins? Pick up a bag of Will Hawk beef jerky for every game. Because when it comes to the playoffs, where there's a Will Hawk, there's a way.
Make every playoff game a Will Hockey game day with Will Hawk beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't bring home the cup with salad.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
When my husband and I said until death do us part, I never expected to find myself at the doorstep of divorce. I was facing an uncertain financial future, expensive lawyer bills, and most importantly, I was concerned for the well-being of my kids. My spouse and I turned to Fairway Divorce Solutions for help. Fairway walked us through a step-by-step process, allowing us to develop a clear roadmap to resolve financial concerns and provide a proactive co-parenting strategy. It helped us avoid chaos and courtrooms.
For a no-cost consultation, visit fairwaydivorce.com.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
It's playoff time, and we've got a lot to talk about. This is Andrew Walker on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440. Tune in after every Edmonton playoff game for the Legacy Heating and Cooling postgame show. Visit the experts at legacyheating.ca.
Tim's Smile Cookie is here. And with every bite, you'll help make a difference close to home. Because 100% is donated to over 600 local charities and community groups. Buy your Tim's Smile Cookies April 27th to May 3rd at participating restaurants in Canada for a limited time.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
What is this? A Mowing Giant sale sign. It's for Canadian Tire's Spring Big Red Sale. I think they meant like big savings, not this.
Save up to 50% at Canadian Tire's Spring Big Red Sale, April 23rd to 30th. Exclusions apply. Details online.
Who should start? Who needs to hit the bench? Find out with Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas.
This is Sports 1440. Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
It's 11:45. Welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online at willhawkbeefjerky.com. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you here from the Sports 1440 studios in West Edmonton Mall. Coming up next, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. Alan Mitchell from noon till 2. If I have this right, And I think Declan, he tweeted 2 minutes ago, but I don't think he put out the lineup. Oh, there we go. Rachel Krychak will join them just after 12:40. And then at 1:20, got Jason Greger. Rumors at 12:20. MMA at 1:40. And of course, I'll be talking about the Oilers' controversial loss last night. And then on the Jason Greger show today, of course, Sean Brown, former NHLer, will join us. Kevin Woodley will be by. Talk about Tristan Jarry's performance last night and look around the goaltending in the NHL playoffs. Seth Rohrbaugh will join us, covers the Pittsburgh Penguins as they're on the brink of elimination, but trying to keep it going. We'll talk to Seth. We'll head out to Utah as well. Talk some Mammoth as they take on the Golden Knights tonight. Spec, Cam Tate, 5 questions, all that good stuff. So make sure you keep it locked here on Sports 1440. And then once we wrap up, we'll throw over to Blue Jays baseball on the AM dial. If you're streaming, you've got Fox Sports Radio. If you're on the old-fashioned radio, you get Jays and Red Sox. Duke, any reason for optimism when you look at the Toronto Blue Jays? They've won 2 of their last 2 series. That's a start, I would say.
How about nothing more than there's reinforcements coming? Trey Savage is going to be back here. Jose Barrios does not seem much further away. That will all of a sudden give you some options in your starting rotation. And unfortunately, it probably would mean Max Scherzer's end of his time in the rotation, at least for the time being, because I think Patrick Corbin has outperformed him since coming in to help replenish this depleted starting roster that they have. So the offense, I think if you look over the weekend, now Cleveland played some pretty poor defense at different stretches over these 3 games, but the Jays kind of went about it in what we learned to be Blue Jays fashion, where get guys on base, move them around. I mean, Jesus Sanchez with the home run yesterday, but otherwise it was just kind of working it and finding, we're just watching some highlights right now, finding open spaces out on the grass, getting them past infielders. And after that, listen, we know how banged up the pitching staff is. It's not going to be real stalwart type performances unless Kevin Gausman or Dylan Cease are on the bump. You got to find a way to win baseball games, and they're doing so right now. And now taking on a Red Sox team that's coming off of firing essentially their entire coaching staff over the weekend. But 2-0 under this new interim regime.
And Cease on the bump tonight, eh?
Yeah. So there you go. Encouraging sign right there.
Does he have the best stash in sports currently?
I think stash hair combo.
Yeah.
The best.
The look?
Yeah, the look.
This guy's got the look.
He looks like
an ace in the majors. Gets Ranger Suarez for the Red Sox. Good crowd yesterday, too, as we look at the highlights here. Man, nothing beats a Sunday at the ballpark.
Junior Jays Sundays?
Yeah.
Connor, I just, while you're on with the crowd talk, I wanted your opinion as an outsider, right? Like, I have this bias. We're not there. We're watching the games on TV for what happened down in Anaheim, games 3 and 4. Now, Anaheim wins both games. That matters. And on Friday, kind of ran Edmonton out of the building. Was not really close. Score shows it was close. Last night, back and forth affair. People love to dog on these non-traditional markets. It's not a very big arena in Anaheim. It's like 17,000 people, and that's with like standing room only.
It's pretty good.
Well, compared to some. 1,000 less than most. I think 18 is probably pretty standard. But besides the point, I was really impressed from watching on TV with the apparent environment that the Honda Center provided for, granted, their first playoff games in 8 years. So they're obviously jonesing for it a little bit, the true diehards. But we know there's probably not 17,000 diehards in Orange County. Quite a few Oilers fans made the travel too, but I just thought the environment seemed really popping and a really exciting place to play these playoff games.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a boisterous crowd.
Yeah.
Like, there were lots of cheering, lots of things to cheer for, right? This wasn't a 2-1 game. I think that helps. I also think that, coming off the States win at the Olympics, like I think there is kind of that
hockey's a little hockey fever across the nation.
It's surging a little bit. They'll just chant USA when a Canadian scores a goal and things of that sort. You were right, 6th smallest arena in the league per capacity, just over 17,000. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it they were treated to good hockey, exciting hockey, and I think that weighs into it. But no, I don't think they embarrassed themselves. I've been to a game in Tampa, and I went like 20 years ago, and I thought the fans were awesome. They didn't really know the rules. Like sometimes they started cheering at weird times, but they were energetic. And I kind of feel that way about Anaheim. Like sometimes it's like a little different. It's not what we're used to here. But even if there is only like 20,000 diehard Ducks fans in that area, That's enough to sell at the barn every night.
Right. And so from an Edmonton perspective, and we expect another packed house, rockin' barn tomorrow night in this elimination game for the Oilers at Rogers Place. Do you think that traditional hockey markets fall victim a little bit to what you like the flip side of what you're saying about sometimes they're just cheering just to cheer because they don't really know? Edmonton, place full of knowledgeable hockey fans for the vast majority, and it is like they're almost kind of waiting for the real moments to pop. So as a result, and I was there for a game last week, when there is just even moments of lull, that place gets really quiet. Really quiet. And especially in a spot where the Oilers are down, things aren't going their way. And it's again tough to say because I'm just observing it on TV. But even like at the Honda Center, it's like pretty much all game long. You could notice the little bit of roar in the background, obviously surges when stuff happens, hits, chances, all those things, goals, obviously. But yeah, I was surprised and impressed because it has been 8 years, and maybe some of the fair weather fans hadn't quite gotten back into it yet, even after a good season, regular season wise, that is from the team. So good to see. We'll see if they get another first round game or if things will wrap up tomorrow night downtown Edmonton.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, gas up the bird, go back down to Southern California, do it all over again. And if it happens, a chance to eliminate the team. I think crowd will show up and be great. Jackson Lacombe, how about him? Leading the playoffs in points.
He's been excellent. He's been the best player in the series. There's a case to be made. He's been one of the best players across the entire playoffs so far. The offensive production, running one of the power play units up top. Defensively, for a team that's giving up as many goals as the Ducks have, I think they are playing quite well defensively. Maybe if it's just by their own very low standards that we came accustomed to with this group. But like go back to game 3, that play, the 2-on-1 where it's McDavid, and I think it was Nuge on the far side. Slides, McDavid outweights him, thinks he's got to cross the top of the crease pass to McDavid or Nugent Hopkins at the back door, and he swings around his stick behind him from the far side to negate the play. It's one of the more impressive defensive plays I've seen in recent memory. And that's just kind of the microcosm of how he's played because he's been all over the ice, played 30 minutes last night, over half the game. Really, really impressive from him. And his partner, Jacob Trouba, who's been very good too.
Yeah, 26 minutes per night. Trouba at 25. The playoff leader in minutes per game, Quinn Hughes, at 33 minutes, 33 seconds. That obviously assisted with a double overtime and the other overtime on Saturday where the Stars won. Miro Heiskanen second right now in time on ice per game, 31. And then Faber at 31. Some guys doing some heavy lifting right now. And yeah, it's been an entertaining playoff for sure. We've had some really good series, some blowouts. And we'll say, just on the topic of, in-game atmospheres, I think you're right. I think in Edmonton, it's the educated hockey fan, a lot of them, where during the play, you're watching the game. Big hit, you'll cheer for sure. You'll boo if there's a missed penalty. But for the most part, they're locked in on the game. And I think in maybe the non-traditional markets, you might just cheer randomly. Back in 2006, the team would score on the Oilers. It would go quiet for maybe 10 seconds, and you would just hear the "Let's go Oilers" chant immediately after.
And it's 2 playoff games so far, one on TV, one in person for me. I kind of feel like that's been lacking a little bit. Like the immediate pushback on when a team does take the air out of your building.
Well, they'll have a chance to do it tomorrow.
They're going to need a chance to rebound, redeem themselves, even if it's only in my eyes.
The Redeem team. That music means we're done. 23-hour break coming up next. It is the Lowdown with Lowtide. If we miss your text, send them into LT. He'll get to them for sure. For the Duke and Josh Fenwick, I'm Connor Halley. Check the podcast or the YouTube stream if you missed it. Go back and watch it. Give it a like if you could do that. It would be swell. Let's get to a Sports 1440 update with the Duke, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Online, wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Stanley Cup playoff action tonight. The Penguins on the brink of elimination, back at home taking on the Flyers, trailing the series 3-1. Puck drop just after 5 o'clock. And then at 7:30 for the nightcap, Vegas Golden Knights in Utah against the Mammoth. Utah holding a series edge 2-1. Upcoming World Championships in Switzerland. Team Canada getting some reinforcements, as Darren Dreger reporting that Macklin Celebrini, Mark Scheifele, Matt Barzell, and Morgan Riley have all committed to play for Team Canada. Gavin McKenna, projected #1 pick in the upcoming entry draft, also likely to suit up in the Maple Leaf. IIHF U18 World Championships earlier this morning. Conclusion to group play, Canada blanked Finland 7-0. Sweden beat up on Denmark 10-1. USA over Germany 11-2. And Slovakia, the host nation, currently leading Latvia 2-1. In the association tonight, trio of playoff games, Orlando Magic at home taking on the Pistons with a 2-1 series lead. Tip-off at 6. OKC looking for the sweep against Phoenix at 7:30 from the desert. And the nightcap, Minnesota down a couple big players, Ant Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo, head back to Denver to take on the Nuggets. Timberwolves with a 3-1 series lead. Lighter day in the majors today, just 8 games, including the Blue Jays kicking off a set against the Red Sox. First pitch just after 5 o'clock. Dylan Cease on the bump for Toronto. You can catch that one joined in action at 6 o'clock following the conclusion of the Jason Gregor Show. Elsewhere, Cleveland hosting Tampa. Cardinals are in Pittsburgh. Mariners up against the Twins. Angels in Chicago against the White Sox. Rangers host the Yankees. Cubs play the Padres. And the Dodgers host the Marlins in the nightcap. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Brandon Douglas, Liquor Sports 1440 Update.
This is